Bachelorette.
We're in Madison, Wisconsin. Back home. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm going to show Rachel a little bit of my Midwestern roots today. Come here.
Hi. Good to see you too.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. You look nice.
Welcome home. Oh, man. You know, I've gotten to know Rachel a lot in the last few months, and those feelings and that connection that we developed has just gotten stronger and bigger. And, you know, now bringing her home, I'm sure it's just going to increase that much more.
Missed you.
I missed you too.
I'm definitely falling for Rachel. There's a connection that we have that is unlike anything I've ever really experienced before in a relationship.
So it's going to be really nice to see what my parents and my friends have to say about Rachel. It's going to be the first time that I get a read on Rachel from an outside perspective. You ready to get the day started?
Yes.
Yeah?
With you, yes.
I think today's really going to be a major step in Rachel and I's relationship. I'm super excited.
It's an iconic piece to the Madison skyline. The Monona Terrace was the vision of one of Madison's most famous residents, Frank Lloyd Wright.
He worked on the project 21 years. He designed it 8 times in that period. He was paid $250 for his work. So I think that really speaks to the idea that this was a labor of love for him. And Madison was an important town.
Wright first introduced the idea in 1938. His dream was to have a civic center that linked the state capitol to Lake Monona, but not everyone agreed.
Many citizens of Madison loved that you would look down from the state capitol and see green here and that it was a park.
Despite being denied several times, Wright never gave up on his plan. He continued to produce designs until his death in 1959. Most people assumed that the dream of the Monona Terrace died with him. It wasn't until 1990 when Madison Mayor Paul Soglin revived the plan to transform the shore of Lake Monona.
It's an opportunity not only to economically benefit this community, but it's also an opportunity to say something about our spirit and about our vision of ourselves.
Voters narrowly passed it, but the idea still had its critics.
I think it'll be a $3 million operating loss in the first year. We're not going to bring in money with that. It's a very expensive building. Expensive to heat, to light, whatever you do with that building. We're just never going to get the money back.
Crews broke ground in 1994. And after nearly 3 years,
on your entryway here.
On the right side.
The Monona Terrace opened its doors in July of 1997.
We are now a worldwide destination for visitors and people coming here to see our wonderful city, to see this wonderful building.
Yeah, pretty magnificent.
It's huge. It's like a city in itself.
I think as a new center for Madison, it's going to be a terrific draw for the area.
20 years later, can you imagine Madison without it? Since July 18th, 1997, the Monona Terrace has hosted more than 14,000 events, nearly 4.5 million people, and generated nearly $500 million in economic impact. It took nearly 60 years for Frank Lloyd Wright's dream to come to life.
Frank Lloyd Wright said before he died that he thought this building would happen someday. So he was really convinced that Madison would eventually come around and build it. I think he'd be really proud, honestly.
Today, that dream lives on with every new visitor. In Madison, Amy Fluksopt, NBC 15 News.
Well, this year, Frank Lloyd Wright would have turned 150 years old. And sadly, just 2 weeks ago, the lead architect who brought Wright's creation to life, Anthony Putnam, died. He was 83.
If you'd like to take a tour of the Monona Terrace, we have the details at NBC15.com.
A WISC-TV editorial with editorial director Neil Heinen.
July 18th is the 20th anniversary of the Monona Terrace Convention Center. Compared to the 60 years it took to fully realize the dream of legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright, 20 years doesn't seem like a long time. But for all of those who worked so hard for so long to make that dream a reality, this is a significant milestone. And that's due to a large degree to the success of the facility. That success is measured in two ways. The first includes the number of events, visitors, and direct economic impact. But the second, arguably more important, is the impact Monona Terrace has had on the city as a whole and the region surrounding it. The opening of Monona Terrace was a pivotal moment in the revitalization of downtown Madison. It spurred new development, new investments, and new confidence in downtown Madison. The result is easily visible with one glance at the city skyline, an anniversary worth celebrating.